Fight me.
Rerun.
All right. Let me get into this Kyler Murray take. Because we usually do a half-hour show during the off-season, but, we've been doing it for as long as it needs to be done. Because sometimes we just got stuff we need to talk about. So, Kyler Murray. We didn't know what the man was going to do. A lot of folks were like, he needs to play football because there's more money in football. He needs to play baseball if he loves playing baseball. He said, I'm going to the NFL draft, and that's all we've heard from him personally. All else is conjecture or what other folks have heard from people they trust. We call that sourced information. Now, Cliff Kingsbury being hired by the Arizona Cardinals certainly has an air of mystique to it. Because this is a guy who in October was talking about, I would draft Kyler Murray number one, no question. Then got fired and failed up into a job that could have been T. Martin's, could have been Byron Leftwich's, ends up being Cliff Kingsbury's. I don't know how you go 5-7 and end up the head coach of an NFL team without any NFL experience, but yeah, Cliff Kingsbury, charmed life. You got to summer or winter. You got to winter in Los Angeles for like 3-4 weeks, and then, oh yeah, let me just move on down to Arizona, be the head coach Cardinals, inherit Josh Rosen, and then get Vance Joseph as your defensive coordinator. Also, Pat Peterson's still there. Larry Fitzgerald says he wants to come back. Got David Johnson in the backfield. It's nice to be Cliff Kingsbury. But I don't think it's so nice that he gets to draft Kyler Murray number one overall, because everything leads to folks are very happy with Josh Rosen as the quarterback at Arizona. They think that dude's going to be a star in the league, and they would love for Cliff to build around Josh Rosen. And because I don't think that Cliff Kingsbury is going to have any sway on personnel decisions, I don't really see them drafting Kyler. I think Cliff Kingsbury is going to be a glorified offensive coordinator, which is good, which is helpful to him. He's going to leave Vance Joseph's defense alone, and I think they're going to go draft Nick Bosa, one of the Bosas. An Ohio State Bosa, number one, or Quentin Miller, number one, to help bolster that defensive line, especially if Vance Joseph wants to go back to a 3-4, which would make sense to me, and you're going to need a guy that you can expect to line up in that 1 or 3 technique, because I don't think they're going to go with a real 3-4. I think they're going to do it with that outside backer being the fourth end. So I could see Quentin Miller or Bosa doing exactly what they've been doing the whole time, which is just being themselves. And it's really difficult to get defensive line talent at any level. And as much as we all love Kyler and we'd love to see him go to an air raid quarterback where he's going to have a guy that an air raid coach who knows how to coach a quarterback like Kyler, I just don't see the Arizona front office letting Cliff Kingsbury get that. And also, not just because they like Josh Rosen, but because if they trade or cut Josh Rosen, that contract money is guaranteed. All right, so let's say Oklahoma fans' best option occurs. You draft Kyler number one. You trade Josh Rosen to the Steelers and for picks and Josh Rosen for Antonio Brown. Okay, so now you got Kyler Murray, Antonio Brown, Larry Fitzgerald, Christian Kirk, David Johnson, and all of a sudden you got Cleveland Browns West. You still owe $10.4 million toward the cap. It's still money you don't get to earn and or have to burn. And it's cool to do that in fantasy football, but even at the NFL level, you don't want to take a 8-figure hit. You just don't, especially when it's going to prevent you from adding to the roster. And we all know that offensive line wasn't the best at protecting Josh Rosen's behind. I don't think they're going to be the best at protecting Kyler Murray's fragile and frail behind. Dude's a big dude, but he ain't 6'4", 230. You get what I'm saying there, all right? So then, what are you looking at? You're looking at 7 other teams who are in the Kyler Murray business. They have to be. New York Giants need a quarterback. Eli ain't the dude. And you have this skill position talent, one of which is a preternatural talent that you locked up. One you're getting for cheap because he's on a rookie contract, and the other Sterling Shepard. So you got Odell Beckham Jr. out there. You got Sterling Shepard on the other side. You got Evan Ingram at tight end. You got Saquon Barkley at running back. You need a quarterback. Problem is, the offense the Giants run isn't one that is necessarily suited to Kyler Murray's talents, which means that Pat Shurmur would have to change the way he wins if they draft Kyler Murray, even though personnel-wise, that makes the most sense. Could happen. Don't necessarily think it's going to happen, but it could happen. Another place he could end up, the Washington Redskins, with John Gruden's brother. More on John Gruden in a minute. But Alex Smith, done. I would not expect to even see that dude play football again, let alone start a game. Colt McCoy ain't the dude. I don't even remember the dude they started late in the season because he was that bad. Point is, you need a quarterback, right? And you need some wide receivers, but you need a quarterback. And as much as I don't like Washington, and I don't necessarily like all the parts they have, they'd be stupid to pass up a Kyler Murray, especially if he can drop to number 14, 15 for them. Okay? Next team you really got to pay attention to is the Patriots. I know that there's a lot of y'all that hate that I just said that out loud, because who wants to see the Patriots get richer when they're doing the most with the least already? And Kyler Murray's probably going to spend the next 2-3 years backing up Tom Brady at a minimum, because that dude ain't going nowhere. But if you're Bill Belichick, why wouldn't you go get Kyler Murray? Especially if you can afford to get him in the first round, right? Assuming you're the 32nd pick, win the Super Bowl, or I don't even know if they have their picks, or I got to look at their where they pick in line. But let's say they use their first round pick on Kyler Murray. You can sit him, you can have him learn from Tom Brady, you can have your heir apparent ready, and you can do some gimmick stuff if you want to. You wouldn't have to throw Julian Edelman back there as a Wildcat quarterback. You can throw Kyler Murray back there, and then you get to drop the plays where he gets to throw the ball around. It makes a lot of sense from a gadget standpoint, and also from a future casting standpoint of this could be your franchise dude of the future, especially since Bill Belichick was in love with Jimmy Garoppolo, and if you read the reports and believe the reports, didn't really want to get rid of Jimmy Garoppolo and was basically forced to do so. I think if you get Kyler Murray for cheap, and by cheap I mean lower in the first round, makes a lot of sense for them. Now I got to bring up my boy Brandon's team, Denver Broncos. If you listen to the Young and Drum podcast, I tease him, right? Because I'm a Cowboys fan, he's a Broncos fan. And Case Keenum is not that dude. Case Keenum is what he is. He's not a bad quarterback, but he ain't the guy for which you think you're going to be able to build a Super Bowl winning offense around. Going to have to do that with defense and running the ball. Phillip Lindsay, though, that's cool. If Emmanuel Sanders can come back, that's going to be cool, too. Cortland Sutton could be good. Need another tight end to help out over there. But if you go get I just don't trust John Elway to draft quarterbacks anymore, man. Paxton Lynch was a big miss for me. Huge miss. And as much as I want to see Brandon's team be competitive and do well and have Kyler on it, I don't want to see him if it meant that John Elway picked him, because John Elway just got a curse on him. And I would much rather that he go pick, I don't know, Dwayne Haskins. Dwayne Haskins be good for the Broncos. Not that he's going to be there, but he'd be good for the Broncos. You get what I'm saying? Next team, I think, are the Chargers, the Dolphins, and, of course, the Jags. Chargers, because Phil Rivers just ain't got that much left. But if you got Melvin Gordon, and you got Keenan Allen, and you got the Williams boys, I think he could be pretty good. Hunter Henry comes back, be decent on offense, and then you have Kyler Murray to plug and play. You get to throw the ball all over the yard like you like to, and you get to hand it off to a workhorse like Gordon for a while, right? Not to mention that defense was a lot better than anybody thought it would be, any better than it had any right to be. And Derwin James is that dude, and Melvin Ingram is that dude, even though they got torched by the Patriots. But I would love to see Kyler Murray get an opportunity to play at a place like LA. I think it would fit with him. I think they would fit with him. I think it would also give the Chargers fans something to gloat about in a city that is going to be Rams-centric for a very long time, if for no other reason than they got this gaudy stadium, and they're playing in the Super Bowl, and Sean McVay is their head coach. You would love to see Kyler Murray be able to pick up that franchise, because it's going to be rough to be an LA Chargers fan for a long time. Then you got Jacksonville Jaguars, and what they've done with quarterbacks is run them into the ground. Name the last great Jacksonville Jaguars quarterback. You're probably going to go with Mark Brunell when you should be going with David Garrard. I'm just saying that I don't necessarily think that Kyler fits into what they want to do down there. That said, Didi's over there, and I know everybody wants the OU connection to work, and you got Leonard Fournette in the backfield when he's not being a head case. And by head case, I mean prima donna. I don't mean like mental. I mean like he's just... Leonard looks like he's the kind of dude that's in it for Leonard. And that ain't what you need out there. You also need some help on the outside to go along with Didi. And I don't know that they have that right now. Cole ain't doing it for me. That dude just ain't going to get it done. And that defense is only going to be that defense for so much longer. And it wasn't like they were the team that they were in 2017 and 2018. But it wouldn't be a bad fit. It just wouldn't be my fit. And then the Dolphins... I don't think Brian Flores even wants to draft Kyler Murray or a quarterback for that matter. I think they want to wait until 2020 and just ride Tannehill. I think they had their eye on Justin Herbert, and he's not going to be there. And if they go into King Tank mode next year, they can go get the quarterback they want in a loaded 2020 draft that will feature Herbert and Tua at the top of it. I also don't necessarily put it past the Dolphins, who are a hot mess, to try to tank for the Trevor Lawrence sweepstakes in 2021. I don't know what to do with the Dolphins, man. I love Kenny. I like Kenny Stills quite a bit. You know, I even like Kenyon Drake and running back. You know, I don't like Dolphins. I specifically don't like them because they fired a pretty good head coach in Adam Gase, who, by the way, benefited from Sean McVay getting in the Super Bowl this year. Matter of fact, every head coach pretty much benefited, or every new head coach benefited from Sean McVay putting together the Rams season the way they did. That joke has been made so many times, I'm not going to even make it here. Just going to say, I don't know that Brian Flores wants to go get Kyler Murray, and if he's made to go get Kyler Murray, I don't think that he's going to like it. And if he doesn't like it, that's not where I want Kyler to go. So, with all of that said, now we get to land on what Chris Berman refers to as the Raiders. I like Chris Berman. Like, I don't hate Chris Berman. I like Chris Berman when Scott Van Pelt is talking him up, because Scott Van Pelt worships at the altar of Chris Berman, and I think it's cute. I think it's really kind of awesome. And I like Tom Jackson and Chris Berman with 2-minute drill, but I don't like Chris Berman hosting shows. I just don't. Hey, NFL Countdown's just too long a show for that dude to be hosting. Anyway, John Gruden at Senior Bowl was asked about Kyler Murray, and all that dude said was, look, I used to have all these things that I wanted to tick off when I was drafted quarterback. I wanted to be this tall. I wanted his hand size to be this way. I wanted his ankles to be this way. I wanted to be able to throw this kind of football. Now, hey man, when I was at Tampa, I got torched by Drew Brees. I've seen what Russell Wilson has done in this league. Now I just think they make them in all shapes and sizes, and what I'm looking for is a football player. Number one, if you're Derek Carr, you got to be packing your bags. Derek Carr saw that interview that John Gruden gave the Senior Bowl, threw up his hands, and said, man, I tried. And he did. You know, he also got paid. So you can't get mad at Derek Carr, and Derek Carr can't get mad at John Gruden. He got his money. He didn't get his season. They traded his best wide receiver. John Gruden has decided he's going to blow up the team. All right? That said, Kyler Murray to the Las Vegas Raiders from a marketing and promotional standpoint? Bro, see Kyler in the silver and black? I like it. I don't like the Raiders as they are now, but I like the idea of Kyler Murray rocking the silver and black. I just don't think they're going to be very good, and I don't think they're going to be very good at protecting him. But I would also like to see him go number 1 overall, or number 2 over, number 4 overall, number 4. But they also got 3 first-round picks. That's the other reason that this is interesting, because John Gruden has shown he'll do that stupid blockbuster move of trading the second best defensive player, for me the best defensive player in the league, in Khalil Mack, and also trading Amari Cooper, while continuing to run a West Coast offense that is antiquated and everybody knows how to blow up. That's the other thing that is intriguing about Kyler Murray going to the soon-to-be Vegas Raiders. They don't run an offense that is conducive to what Kyler Murray does well. They run a West Coast scheme. Kyler Murray comes from an air raid coach. And it's just a different way of getting the football out. You know, not so much short passes as much as throw it where they ain't and try to get vertical and stretch them. Also, you got a dude that's pretty good running with the ball. I don't know. It would mean that John Gruden would have to go get an offensive coordinator that knows how to run that sort of scheme and have to give up the play card. And I think that he's about as likely to give up the play card as Lincoln Riley is, as Lane Kiffin is, which is to say he ain't. You know, and because he's got minority ownership of the team and he's got this stupid long contract, he can do whatever he wants. So if he were to draft Kyler Murray with their first overall pick of the 2019 draft, we're all going to be holding on for dear life because we don't know what he's going to do with the dude. Because he quite literally run Kyler into the ground. And nobody watching this channel wants to see Kyler do anything other than succeed at whatever sport he chooses to play. Also, that's the last bit of this. We're all assuming Kyler Murray's going to play in the NFL, if for no other reason than that video of him and Antonio Brown and Hollywood surfaced of a shirtless Kyler dropping a dime, just looking just gorgeous throwing a football, right? Look real good playing quarterback. But the Oakland Athletics are like, we'll see. Watch, somebody's going to wait till the 3rd round to draft him, and that'll be that. Could still be in play. right? And we know that he would play right away in the NFL. We know it'd be a couple years before he got to the major leagues, and we've been through this and we'll continue to go through it. But I think that John Gruden said what he said and the way that he said it, that sounds a lot like the way folks were talking about Baker in Cleveland at this time last year. And nobody at this time last year thought Baker would go number 1 overall. By the time the draft came around in April, everybody was going to be shocked if he didn't. Or like at least in the top 3 picks. It was him or Darnold. And then they went and got Baker, and I could see somebody else going, this dude Lincoln Riley's putting out some winners. Maybe we want that dude. And if nothing else, Cliff Kingsbury said he wanted the dude. And we know what he did with Pat Mahomes, or at least not what he did with him, but that he groomed him for the NFL to do great things. So that's all of a piece. Man, where are we at?